Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
You just made the list! Oh no!
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come.
Not only does that mean that you're next, it means Brock Lesnar, you're last!
I need to talk to you real quick because the fact is, you're the one that calls me the coward, but you're the one that doesn't get in the WWE ring again.
Bada boom! Realest guys in the room, how you doing?
Wait! Hey! Austin! Austin's done the Donald!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast where we talk about the wrestling that we've watched over the last 2 months. And that's pretty much it. My name is Turbo Tony. I am the host of this show. Feels very weird saying that after the large break, but I don't do this alone. I do have a partner in crime, and he is a man who has used the last 2 months to learn how to dance like a salsa king. It's Matt Marsander. Oh, yeah.
Now I got stuck in my head is that Shake Senora song.
You are the king of that now, Matt. You is your dominion.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah. Therefore, maybe king of the cruiserweights. You are the king of salsa. That's the way it works now. Now I have an powering desire to see how well you can actually salsa dance because
I do not.
No, you don't. No, you wouldn't be worse than me. I've literally got no rhythm. I'm one of those people that dance. I'm like, okay, what do I do? So everything has to be like mathematic to me, you know. How you doing anyway, Matt? How have you been over the last 2 months? As if we haven't spoken over the last 2 months. Of course we have, but anyway.
It's like nice try.
Yeah.
I've been alright.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to. Yeah.
How to really. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's been weird.
Yeah. Now, for those, we've had a few people asking us when this is come up. I did say it would be around Royal Rumble time. We are a little bit late, but Matt, last week you were gone for the whole week, so we just weren't going to be able to catch that. And I'm just going to say now, guys, we weren't in any particular rush. And we'll go for the status of the podcast and how things are going from there on out. If you'd like to interact with us, because we are still manning our social media accounts, and I still reply to people on there from time to time whenever they send anything. I think we've got some emails, a few Facebook messages. I reply to it all. It's really not an issue. And you can send us any messages to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can send us a tweet to the Twitter handle of
@TalkWrestlePod.
You can indeed. You still know how to do that, Matt. It's like a bike. Yeah, exactly. And of course, you can send us any private messages to Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com, which is a great method of speaking to us without the rest of the world seeing what you have to say. So if you want to send us any hate mail for us not doing the podcasts, I guess that's the place to put it. You know,
like if you want.
Yeah. 2 seconds there, Matt. 2 seconds, mate.
Off to a strong start.
All right. So I'm going to leave this in the recording because that's quite a funny story of just what just happened there. So my dog inadvertently managed to turn on my iPad and boot up a game. So I was wondering what the fuck was that noise? It was Plants vs. Zombies. Got no clue. She managed to do it. So, yeah.
Your dog is a genius.
Either a genius or just very fucking lucky. To be honest, my dog is dumb as shit. I'm not gonna play around. She's stupid, and I love her for it, but she's stupid. The same dog, by the way, that I was listening to old episodes, and there was somewhere I was getting so fucking annoyed at the dog being in the room. There's one actually that I don't know if anyone listening can remember it, but we'd literally just got the dog, and I think it was like a couple of episodes in, and I was doing a recording on my my kid's birthday party. It was like an all-girls event, so that's why I wasn't there interacting and podcasting. Had the dog with me, and she went mental. She's calmed down a lot now. She's grown up. but still apparently she can work iPads anyway. So we do have, this is probably going to be like an hour show this time around. Just to give you guys like a status of like where we are in terms of the show. We're basically, me and Matt are kind of in agreement that it's not going to really be like a week to week thing. It's going to be whenever we decide to put one out, it's going to be there. So it's going to be us covering. It may even be like a month to 2 months. Same thing of what we had before, just covering what we've seen. It'll be one of those little surprises that you might get in your subscription thing that we might just do every now and then. That's where we are at the moment. I guess we're pretty much decided on that, Matt. We yeah. Unless you said to me, no, damn it, I'm taking over the show. I'm doing everything. No. Yeah. I will have to say that over the course of the break of the 2 months, I was shocked at how little wrestling I watched. I've not caught any Raw since we said that we would stop. So, yeah, there's that.
I've watched like half a SmackDown.
One thing we have watched, though, are some of the big events. I watched half of the Royal Rumble. No, I mean half of the Royal Rumble show. I watched the whole of the Royal Rumble and the Styles Cena match. You watched it all, though, didn't you, Matt?
I did.
You did. I watched all of Wrestle Kingdom, which is like 4.5 hours.
I only saw the main event.
Yeah, which was the best part. We're going to talk about that. And I have seen just a little bit, obviously, one of the things that we said before when we were doing the podcast regularly is that WWE put out those top 10 of what happened on that show. So I've stayed up to date with the storylines. I know what's going on. I know where things are going forward. I just haven't watched the shows. And from what I've heard from other podcasts that I've been listening to, Matt, I haven't missed that much on Raw than what is on those.
I mean, I've also watched like the first half an hour of the other one, Elimination Chamber.
Oh yeah. I started getting into Elimination Chamber, but I just haven't had the time to get around it. That was the one event that happened just the weekend gone, isn't it? So yeah, fair enough. So what are we going to talk about here? We're literally going to talk about those things that we caught and our thoughts and feelings about where things might be going and our general thought base in terms of wrestling in general at the moment, and cover some of the news. And then we might just chat about other things that we've done over the course of the 2 months that just might just pique your interest, to let you know that we haven't exactly been doing nothing over the course of two months. We've been busy, especially around Christmas time with me with the 2 kids. It was mental. So I actually went through that phase, Matt, of the last couple of weeks. Sometimes, because kids, they get a lot of toys over Christmas, so they can't give the attention to all of them. So we had to throw out like the odd like jigsaw puzzle or like or little play set here and there the other day because the room's just not big enough for it.
Yeah.
So it's that awkward thing of trying to tell your kid, okay, what do you like the most? And then trying to convince them that getting rid of the things that they don't like the most is a good thing. Because you tell a kid, I'm taking your toys to like the charity shop. They're like, but they're my toys. I got them for Christmas not long ago. Yeah. But it has to happen. That's just a right as a parent. All right, Matt. Shall we get into the? Oh no! Before we do, Matt, we do have a little bit of fan feedback. All right.
Okay.
This is a question that was left on our Facebook page just before we started. We stopped, and we never got around to answering it. And it's Mario Tia. He let us know, in general, that he'd been waiting so long. He's been waiting to get an answer to this since the 17th of November, I believe. I'm looking at it right now on our Facebook page. 17th of November. So that's almost 4 months he's been waiting for this answer. By God, he wants it. So, Matt, I can't think of any other better place to start than covering Mario's question here. So,
yeah.
Let me read it out for the entire thing. So, okay, so he's talking about the poll. We did all that, blah, blah, blah. Question for the next episode. Provided Orton doesn't betray Bray at Survivor Series, that just shows you how long ago this was. When and how should Orton betray Bray Wyatt? And how should the following feud end? Right now, Wyatt, who didn't profit from the brand split, that could be considering what happened at Elimination Chamber, maybe that doesn't live up. But anyway, can hardly afford to lose another high-ish profile program while Orton doesn't look super dominant either. My response to this, Matt, is I actually think that the Orton-Wyatt storyline is probably one of the best storylines that have been told over the last couple of months. Like, it's been slow, and Orton has clearly got an agenda, but he's playing the game, you know, and it's almost like you can see the character of Orton playing the chess pieces, you know, to try and, you know. And Bray Wyatt is the WWE champion currently. So that's a big ass deal.
I'm curious as what's going to happen now, because apparently there's now what was it? It's now a battle royale to find out who's going to face Bray at Mania.
Yeah, because Orton said that I refuse to face you. I think this is just another trick for Orton. I think that. Or maybe he does something to get Luke Harper involved, and that way it becomes like so I don't know.
Well, apparently this is a way of getting Rowan back.
I would like the ending of the story has to end with Randy Orton outplaying Bray Wyatt. I know that maybe that's not what a lot of people like, and people might say that'll be another loss at WrestleMania. That is a much easier pill to swallow when the story surrounding it makes sense. This makes sense. Orton didn't just do a John Cena and the week after getting fired by the Nexus just destroy them again. Yeah, he's played the long game. This is like months and months. Talking of it there, you know, that storyline was still going around before Survivor Series. So we're talking 4 months after this. This has still been going. Personally, I'm under
especially considering, like, just quickly, like, we're talking about before Survivor Series, like, they were the sole survivors.
Yeah, they won the match for their team. Yeah. So it was even going on before then because Orton was rivaling with Wyatt before he joined them. I'm under the belief, Matt, that this follows the template that I would like the majority of storylines to go from after SummerSlam, which is you build up a 6-month storyline that culminates at WrestleMania. Too often, I believe, we are given a match at WrestleMania that is created maybe even a couple of weeks before the event begins, which I think is inexcusable.
Yeah.
So you got a couple of storylines there that makes sense because they've been going on for a long time. You've got Jericho and Owens, which is clearly going to end at Mania. Fair play, right? I think that's been done fairly well. And we get into that. But there is some that just randomly, like, just get picked up out of nowhere, you know, and, you know, title matches get created just randomly. So in that sense, I'm actually a big fan of the Orton and Wyatt storyline. I actually think it's been really well played out. And it's one of those storylines that's had enough twists and turns and things that happen in it that it hasn't just been overstayed its welcome. And it's been stuck in, you know how some, for instance, the Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns constantly wrestling each other over the majority of like a couple of months. That got old quick. You know, they were wrestling each other every pay-per-view, almost every Raw, and it never seemed like it was changing. It was just the same storyline playing over. This, at very least, looks like something it's playing out over time. You know, so the way, how do you see it? How do you see it ending? How do you think it should end, though? This storyline, Orton and Wyatt.
I don't know. I think it's actually been to a point where it's now hit a point where there's been so many times where it's been like, oh, maybe that will be the time. Maybe this will be the time. When actually it's like, oh, when is that going to be? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It almost seemed like Royal Rumble would have been that moment, but no, they held it off. So their payoff has got to be good. The way that like I said, I reckon it should end with Orton winning the title at WrestleMania, that he outplays Bray Wyatt. Now, you could play a storyline after that Orton makes him public enemy number one, and you've got a ready-made title feud there going in after WrestleMania. It doesn't have to end at WrestleMania. You know? You can do that, and I think that would be okay. So that's how I see it going. And Wyatt, yeah, he's got the championship now. I'm actually really happy because it's weird to see Wyatt with title gold around his waist. But he's won more championships in like 3 months than he had in his entire time on the main roster. It's kind of crazy. Like it's weird. So I actually think I know in your question, Mario, you say the brand split hasn't done him well. I think the brand split has given him enough room to tell a proper story with the Wyatts.
Yes. One thing I quite like, you've seen that Jake the Snake has posted a video about like essentially congratulating Wyatt.
Yeah.
By saying how he's been a big fan of his work and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people putting pictures of Husky Harris up and saying, you know, this is where it started and this is where it is now. I'm sure that Bray's quite happy at the moment. You look at this differently, right? So last year's WrestleMania, he was a bit player in a segment just to suck The Rock's cock, right? That's all it was. Let's be honest, yeah. Now, in the space of 12 months, he'll be involved in the WWE World Championship title match at WrestleMania. That's a big upgrade.
As champion.
Going in as champion. Yeah, exactly. That is a fucking upgrade right there. Now, I know he may not be the main event because Goldberg and Lesnar clearly and should do, because of name recognition alone, should be the main event of WrestleMania.
Close the show, yeah.
At the end of the day, some people would have even taken him being involved in an IC title feud over last year. Bray Wyatt is now the WWE champion, and he's involved in one of the marquee matches of that event. If you're a Bray Wyatt fan, I would be very happy the way things are playing out right now because it was far worse in a lot of stages of his career, you know. So, yeah, I'm actually really happy what they're going with here. I want to talk a little bit about Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay.
So... I was looking back on some of the old episodes that we did, Matt, and I watched the awards show that we did where we covered some of the best matches of that year. And we said we were so shocked that Revival and DIY had stolen it like a couple of days before we had done that recording. And what I like about Wrestle Kingdom is that no matter what happens in the show, it's almost always guaranteed to give you a match of the year contender. It always starts the year off strong. I thought the show Wrestle Kingdom this year was fantastic. I think it was really fun. For someone who had stepped away from wrestling a lot, and this was the first proper wrestling show I had seen in a long while, just really, really fun, you know, and to see wrestling in a different environment. I have to talk about one match and one match only, though, and that is the Omega and Okada title match. Wow. These guys, they pulled off something really, really special. Really special.
Plus, Okada knows how to make a Terminator entrance.
Omega did the
Omega, yeah.
You get it, because it's O at the beginning of it. I get them mixed around all the time as well. Yeah, that Terminator entrance was that was better than Triple H's at Mania, and you must have a hell of a budget for that. But because they did the video package beforehand, and he's got the proper mannerisms down as Omega. Yeah, and you know what? You know, because it had a lot of build-up, and Omega had been doing a lot of trash talking before the match. You know, sometimes matches just don't live up to the hype, and some do. And this did. It lived up to... This was the match that made Kenny Omega a star, in my opinion. Like a
star, yeah.
A legitimate star. One that companies were vying for attention, right? There was a lot of people. I mean, Triple H even had to answer the question on a call that he did. Are you interested in Kenny Omega? You know, that his name was being popped around a lot of places. Now, I know he's pledged his allegiance to New Japan, which I think is correct because he didn't win this match. So technically, even if you look at Okada's history, he couldn't beat Tanahashi until he could finally beat Tanahashi for the title.
Yeah,
Omega's going to follow the same path with Okada taking the role of Tanahashi. It just makes sense. So yeah, Omega now is a big player in New Japan. He has taken the slot of AJ Styles better than anyone that I could ever hoped of in that company, you know, of being a big star for them, you know. And this match is really special because I think even just the way it was constructed, the way it was built, the way that both men were able to keep such a high level of performance going when the match was, I think it was over 40 minutes long.
Their own length.
One of the things that's really impressive, Okada actually came out and said, after he had an interview after the match, he said that he felt like he was going to die in that match. And I was like, and we thank you for it because you did fucking amazing. The pair of you did. So I have not seen a match so far. And listen, you can hardly take this from me as I've not been watching too much. I've not seen a match over the course of this year so far that's topped that. And that does include, and I have seen Styles and Cena at Rumble.
2.0 or 3.0.
3.0, yeah. A lot of people, Matt, was saying that Styles and Cena was better. I don't think Styles and Cena Royal Rumble was better than their last match, at SummerSlam. I still think it was great, but I don't think it was better than their SummerSlam match. I think their SummerSlam match was better. And just for reference, I think Omega and Okada was better than that match. But that's just my opinion. And it's one of those things that they're both spectacular matches. They really are. If you're going to hold a gun to my head and ask me, okay, is this better than, Revival against DIY? No, I don't think it's as good as that match. But I have such a high regard for that DIY Revival match that still hasn't dissipated. That's probably in my top 5 matches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be hard pressed to get into that. That's how much I love that match, by the way. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But all in all, Wrestle Kingdom is like New Year's. It's like a New Year's Day gift because you don't get a New Year's Day. It's like the 4th of July that they do it. But basically, it's the first show that you're always going to watch in the new year, and it always starts off the wrestling year strong. So, I would urge anyone that when Wrestle Kingdom rolls around, give it a watch. They didn't have Yoshitatsu on commentary this year, so that's a plus.
Definitely.
Didn't have to deal with that.
I even think the commentary for this year was strong as well.
Yeah. I know Jim Ross did it, I think, with Josh Barnett, but I didn't. I had 2 different ones. I can't remember who did it. I don't know whether it was Steve Corino. No, I don't think it was. No, I can't remember, but it was two guys who didn't have to deal with Yoshitatsu. That's basically it. Didn't have to deal with cutting to this guy and asking his opinion and then the broken English or not saying anything. It's they had that allowance to do their work. And so did the wrestlers. I think it was fantastic. I think it was really good. And it's one of those things that with Wrestle Kingdom, because they lost so many stars after Wrestle Kingdom last year, I think it's very important that they did keep on with Kenny Omega, because they've got to stamp in. They made this guy a star, and it would be really bad if they lost him. I don't think there was any risk of that. I think Omega pretty much told them, look, I'm going to just tease everyone for a little bit, but I'm coming back. I'm signing. I am coming back. And Omega, to me, is not one of those guys that would renege on his commitments. Not do a DeAndre Jordan in basketball, which is I'm going to join this team, and then later on you go, okay, actually I'm joining this team instead.
Do you know what? I changed my mind.
Yeah. I don't think it's one of those guys to do that. I think he honestly appreciates everything that New Japan's done for him, and he has more to give. So fair play, and that is really good for New Japan. Really, really good. I have a few other things that I would like to talk about here. A few things that I'm actually a little bit annoyed about here. A few gripes, the way things have continued. One of them happened a couple of days ago. And you may be saying, why have I got a problem with this? Matt, I don't like the fact that Bayley won the women's championship.
No, I knew you'd going to come to that. I didn't.
First of all, before I get into it, why don't you like it? Why don't you like that she won the title?
Where's the build-up for it? And it just stinks of like the Sasha Charlotte feud.
Yeah,
where it's just like win. Guess what? Pay-per-view around the corner. Gonna lose it.
Yeah, it boggles my mind, Matt, that you've got easily a big face victory for that title. You've got Charlotte, who's on a pay-per-view win streak. Why you wouldn't save the singles match for WrestleMania, build up to that, and have Bayley beat it all and win and get a huge response?
That's it.
Why spend it on Raw where, to be honest, I don't think many people give a shit. I don't think many people care. Talking about that Sasha Banks Charlotte, by the way, one thing I had to say, I'm actually really ragging on the women on this show. I have not been very impressed the way that some people are looking at this Sasha Banks Charlotte feud. I have seen so many people tell me, Matt, how how much of a
wrong,
statement
it's been
it
the
was.
greatest feud.
Yeah, that we should be extremely happy that the feud is there. It's one of the greatest women's feuds in history. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see what people are saying. Like, I appreciate both women. They're fantastic wrestlers. They had some good matches. But I don't see it as being a monumental feud. I see it as being one that went on too long. We will be remembered for the 6 or goddamn, I don't know how many titles. I think it was 6 in title changes that they had in that feud.
Yeah.
And the big matches that they had that ultimately didn't impress. The fact that Botchamania put up a video of the 10 most botched matches in 2016. 2 of the matches that Sasha Banks and Charlotte had were in that list. And you're saying that that's one of the greatest women's rivalries of all time. Yeah. I don't see it.
I'll pass on that.
Yeah. Just because they had so many matches against each other and they were in high-profile situations doesn't make the feud great. In fact, the match they had in NXT was far better than any of the matches that they had on that main roster.
The other thing that I found is just they're going on about it and they're sort of like, but what was the actual? Was there even a story behind it?
What Sasha Banks or Bayley?
Sasha and Charlotte.
Sasha. Really, to be honest, it was just we have no other contenders, so we're just going to wrestle each other over and over and over again. Yeah. And yeah, I don't understand it. It to be honest, and even the fact that with Bayley winning, you had Sasha involved to help her win it, and she hugged her and everything afterwards, and everything was lovely. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I miss the Sasha that made Izzy cry. I miss that Sasha. This Sasha that we've got at the moment is not even fucking. It's legit. A shadow. Yeah, it's a shadow of what we had before.
Yeah, screw a legit boss. We want legit bitch.
Yeah. The Sasha Banks I loved in NXT would have cost Charlotte the championship, but they wouldn't have beaten the shit out of Bayley afterwards and said, I'm now coming for your belt. You know? I said before, Matt, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. What was the one thing I said that I hated about Natalya back before the women's revolution? I said that I hated it that when other women were challenging for the championship, she was cheering them on like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I hate it then when Sasha does exactly the same thing. It pisses me the fuck off. It really does. Like with Bayley's character, you can kind of understand it because she's sort of this naive super fan character. Sasha Banks, that doesn't fit with her, you know? Does it mean that winning the title to her means nothing now because she won it like 3 times last year? You know, I don't know. I have lost a lot of love for that women's division, and there's nothing there. I would have thought, Matt, before we had gone on our break, that if I had heard the news that Bayley had won the championship, I would want to go watch the match, and I didn't want to. You know?
Mm-hmm. It's just no interest.
Yeah. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what they want to do for WrestleMania. I thought if you're going to put the belt on Charlotte after that title feud, it seemed clear. You keep her strong. She keeps winning pay-per-view matches till WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the one she loses. And it's to Bayley, the one girl, the underdog, right, who wouldn't be able to win it all, you know?
Just sort of go, I will do whatever it takes. I will get my opportunity, blah, blah, whatever. Usual spiel. Score the win.
Yeah. It really annoys me because it seems like they don't really know where they're going and they're just kind of rolling the dice. They're playing this booking like it's fucking Dungeons and Dragons and they're rolling the dice. Oh, it's on 20, title change this week. But it doesn't make any sense long term. Did you not see the fucking dice I rolled?
That's it. We're just gonna pull out this deck of cards. If it's a red, we'll change hands.
What is it, that episode of South Park where they're cutting the head of chickens or wherever the body falls? Oh, okay. Well, now we're doing a swerve. That's what we're doing this week. It seems like that's what they're doing. I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed, and
it's hard to be impressed by it.
Yeah, this whole thing of Charlotte losing championships on Raw and not on the pay-per-view just stinks of the whole Gallows and Anderson thing. That. Yeah, congratulations. They won the championship, but it means absolutely fuck all. No one cares that Gallows Anderson won the championship.
The best part is they won the championship on the pre-show.
Yeah, when I heard that they won the championship, I was like, well, who cares? Matt, they are ruined. Winning championships does not save Gallows and Anderson. They missed the mark on that, you know. And as if that wasn't the only thing I had to say about the women's division, I have to bring up Emelina.
Yeah, knew it. But like, and there's another thing. I'm like, yep.
Yeah. What a fiasco this has turned into. So apparently, after weeks and weeks and weeks, funnily enough, right, I went back and I listened to an episode that me and my wife did back in May of last year. So it's a long time ago now. We're talking almost, a couple of months away from a year, right? That was. And the news then was that Emma had injured herself and that she was going to be on the shelf. So from May last year, we've not seen Emma at all. She was cleared and ready to go with this Emelina character, and it ended up becoming almost a joke within itself. It became the Brodus Clay situation of when is this guy going to debut? Because they keep airing vignettes, but it never seems to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And then what it ended up becoming was a gigantic waste of time.
An absolute bomb.
An absolute bomb. So what happens, and I watched all of this, by the way, because I couldn't believe that this happened. She comes out with the whole Emelina thing. They've got the set. It looks gorgeous, right? She's looking sexy on that Titantron. She comes out. She does the whole Emelina thing. And she, in a really weird promo, says, I have transformed into Emelina. Now I will transform into Emma. And you're like...
I hadn't seen this bit.
Yeah.
Because
I'm like...
long given up.
Yeah. I was like... What? What the fuck does that mean? Now, the news had come out after this because everyone was like, well, that's stupid. It didn't get a response, by the way. It fell on deaf ears, as it should, because it's just really badly worded. She could have said, I had transformed into Emelina, but then I look at the state of the women's division and maybe they need someone a little bit more forceful. It was nothing. It was almost like a throwaway line just so they could get this done and fuck her off. They could deal with this thing and not have to answer questions on it anymore. So the news had come out afterwards that apparently during rehearsals, they were not convinced that Emma could do the Emelina character. If you were not convinced that she could do that character for day one, why did you air so many fucking vignettes doing it? I don't know. If this was her choice to do this character, which I don't think it was, I think this was a character given to her, then I don't know why they gave this character to her if that's the case. Because to me, I would take one look at Emma and think, okay, you're a really good wrestler, but this sort of role of being this supermodel, I wouldn't have picked Emma for that. She's good looking enough, but that's not who she is. That's like trying to, what do they say? They say that the characters have to have like an element of who
themselves.
You are. Yeah. To make it work. This didn't seem like Emma at all to me.
Yeah.
And it's ludicrous. It really is ludicrous that they would waste everyone's time and waste her time. Matt, I'm firmly under the belief that if they hadn't stuck her with this gimmick, that she would already be back in the women's division by now. They just had a thumb up their ass for so long, didn't want to do the debut, and then when the time came, they got cold feet, and they didn't want to go through with it.
Yeah, I mean, the video packages for it have been shocking as well. Like, you remember that one? I shared one to you not too long ago. I think it was actually like 2 weeks ago, like just before her re-debut.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sounds like a porn.
It does. It sounds like she's going to have sex with us.
Yeah, like she's all of a sudden, like she's like, it's not Emelina the supermodel, it's Emelina the escort girl.
Yeah.
It's like you've been waiting so long.
It's like I see all these stories about that woman apparently went on a blowjob tour before like a referendum in Italy or something like that. Yeah, it seemed like Emma was basically going down that route. Like she was going to be like, oh, hello, boys. Pucker up, and it's like, okay, Emelina, this went a little bit too far. It was getting a little bit ludicrous. But I don't blame Emma for this. You should know better. You should know the limits of your talent. You should know what characters feel right with them. And that sort of character, it just doesn't work. It's like almost like not too much of an extreme. It's like them trying to do the same thing with Bayley. Why would you ever try? Emma, it wasn't as if the gimmick that Emma had before wasn't working. It was doing fine. Her entrance, her music, they were all working. It was all good. Why would you try and change it? It makes no sense to me. but they have, and it's failed spectacularly. And it's one of those things that they just can't seem to do this woman right on the main roster, or something happens when she gets up there. That it just doesn't seem to resonate properly. I don't know. It's tragic for a woman to be that talented and to be
so underutilized.
Yeah, so misused. It's a real shame. She's better than that. I hope that out of the realm of someone's butthole, they can pull out something that works for this woman going forward. Even if they just decide, you know what, we'll just try and nix everything and we'll go back to our old gimmick. Because we said beforehand, Matt, when they came up with the Emelina, I was like, I understand when you repackage someone who needs a repackage because their former gimmick just didn't get over. Emma was fine. It was working. She was okay. So why would you risk it? And this is ultimately what happens when you risk it. So there we are. We have a couple of inductions into the Hall of Fame. Some good news, Matt.
Holla, holla.
Holla, holla, Teddy Long. I was filled with so much internal glee at the sound of Teddy Long getting inducted. I am, no doubt, so excited for his speech. It is unreal. I will be waiting with bated breath for Teddy Long's speech. I want it, and I want it all night long. Yes. Like Emelina, yes. Went a bit weird there, bit too far. It's feeling like the podcast again. Yeah.
Well, if anything, you've now got two of your favorite blondes on Raw. But like if we were back to the weekly programming, you'd be so happy about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But still, talking back to our favorite player, Teddy Long, holla holla. I'm just really happy with this guy. He deserves it because he's been around wrestling long enough, and it's not just his on-air personality. We all know about what he did beforehand. He's been a manager, he's been a referee. If you go back and watch some stuff on the network of ages ago, you will spot Teddy Long being a referee or being one of the guys that runs out to try and stop brawls. So he's been in the wrestling business for a long, long time. So he deserves that recognition. Another guy who deserves that recognition, which I didn't think would get inducted, at least not now. Kurt Angle is almost like the head runner of this year's induction.
Yeah, he's going to be top.
Yeah. Now, there was a lot of speculation whether or not Kurt Angle would be an entrant into the Royal Rumble. We now know that's not the case. For reference, I didn't think he would be. I don't think WWE would actually let him wrestle. The amount of stories that I heard about his neck being really bad is worrying for him. So I don't know whether or not he would pass a medical to get that done. But fair play. He was a big player in WWE at a point of their history, which was very popular for them. And granted, he spent more time in TNA than he did WWE. You still ask the general wrestling fan, what do you remember Kurt Angle for? They remember the 7-year WWE run more than TNA. So fair play to him. He seems really happy about it. So awesome for him. I'm sure that he will have a great speech as well, talking about him getting in there. No guy in the wrestling business has ever taken to wrestling from not having that much training at all than Kurt Angle did. He took to it like a duck into water. Yeah. He had the Charlotte thing of he got so good so quickly. It was almost like you couldn't believe it. He was like, wait a minute. This guy was born to do this. He's just got a natural talent for it. And there's a lot of guys that you'd get from the Olympic scene that wouldn't have the charisma. Kurt Angle had the charisma. He was able to back that side of it up, and he was a character in of its own. So fair play to him. Another thing we have to cover, Matt, is the UK tournament that we went around to have a look at. We have a WWE United Kingdom champion in the form of Tyler Bate. Did you watch that tournament at all?
Nope.
You didn't watch the tournament?
Nope.
I watched. From
what I hear, I should have.
Yeah, it was good. And it was actually good because Michael Cole was a really good commentator for it. He was calling the matches. That a weird thing to say about Michael Cole, but he was calling. And obviously Nigel McGuinness next to him. We talked about that just before we stopped, and he is the new NXT announcer, Nigel McGuinness, which is good because I'm going to tell you now that the general consensus of Percy Watson in NXT is that he is a poor man's Poor man's Byron Saxton. Sorry. He is a substandard, second-rate Byron Saxton. That's what Percy Watson is. Yeah.
You were so ready to defend him.
Yeah, remember, Matt, I said we've got to give him time, see how he grows into it. Matt, he is the worst commentator they have. He is worse than JBL. He is worse than Byron Saxton. He is worse than David Otunga. He is that bad. This guy is painful to the point that at NXT TakeOver San Antonio, which I did watch all the way through, by the way, he almost killed commentary on his own. If it wasn't for Corey Graves shutting him up from occasion, then I probably would have just turned the sound off. He was abysmal. He is
pretty bad. I
shocking.
didn't watch San Antonio.
General consensus about San Antonio, and I agree with the consensus, is it was good. It was the worst of the NXT TakeOver shows to date. So,
oh really?
Yeah, there wasn't much that really stood out. The best match for me was DIY versus the Authors of Pain, and it didn't even have a lick on the Revival match. So that would kind of tell you what the show was like. It was good, but it just
lacked.
It just wasn't special, dare I say. And you had 2 title changes on the show, so with Bobby Roode becoming champion. But I actually thought that Bobby Roode match with Shinsuke wasn't that good. I have to say, it was all right, but not something that would put a stamp of put its own stamp on the show. But it's still good. It was still a good show. It's still worth. That's why I say it. Like, it's really hard to give it that label of being the worst NXT TakeOver show because they're all good. Even that one is good. It's just not as good as the rest. So yeah, that's the way it is. Talking more, Mickie James, Max, she's back.
Yes, she is.
Are you pleased?
Yeah.
Of course you are. She was La Luchadora. She has been wrestling. She's now in a feud with Becky Lynch. Fair play to her. She did really well in that match against Asuka at Toronto. And she's got more to give. So let's see it. And she will. She's only going to help that women's division, where you've got a lot of young women on that division that could really do with a Mickie James around to help. Yeah, and these women are good women; they're good talent, but you're never good enough that you can't take something from someone that's been there before, like a Mickie James, and make yourself better from it. So, and Matt, she's gonna have some pretty good matches. That's what I think. And you've got a soft spot for Mickie, don't you? You do.
I do. I am a Mickey Mark.
And you know what? Like a fine wine, Matt, she still looks damn fine. She looks damn fine. The other thing that really I want to cover as well, things that happened recently, the Jericho stuff. Now, Jericho has won the United States Championship from Roman Reigns, which is a great idea because just one, Roman Reigns really wasn't doing anything with it. The majority of his run as US champion, he was feuding for the Universal Championship. So really it was just something else added on. So I would have given it to someone that was hot, like a Chris Jericho, and that way he can do something with it. And I do firmly believe that Goldberg is walking into WrestleMania as the Universal Champion. So you can still have a title match between Owens and Jericho, which is where it's going now, because the big breakup, it finally happened, Matt. I think the way they did that was brilliant. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the clip of it, of their breakup?
Yeah, I showed you the...
I showed me the thing, yeah.
The Celine Dion edit.
Which made it a million times better, by the way. But the whole, the list of KO, he lifts it up. He's like, why was my name on it? And it's got that, yeah. I thought that was really well done. So, yeah, I think that feud is really healthy. I think that's a WrestleMania-worthy feud. You just hope that they don't do something stupid like decide, we're going to do it on Fastlane.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think they will. They're going to hold it off for WrestleMania, and that'll be a match that will have people involved, and that will be for the United States Championship. And you don't need the Universal Championship in that match to make it important. What sells that is the friendship. You don't even need a title. It's a grudge match now, a legit grudge match between two former best friends.
I mean, if anything, I don't think they'll actually have a match at Fastlane, because Owens did the whole powerbomb onto the apron. Like, they've been very good at making that seem as impactful as possible.
Yeah, you think it might rule him out for the pay-per-view, yeah?
Yeah.
I would lean on that. Or you could even have Owens have... what I would have Owens do is have Owens go out there and do Y2J's talk show. Do the highlight reel.
Yeah.
And literally, it's just him... Without anyone interrupting, it's just him ragging on how bad Chris Jericho is and how he's the worst friend and he never really wanted him around and he only kept him around for the championship. And that way you don't have to have Jericho around. You can sell that. And that way you've got a good reason for them not facing each other at Fastlane and to have that match at WrestleMania. So I think that's really good. Some people are really up in arms at the fact that Kevin Owens is going to lose the championship to Goldberg. I don't understand what they're thinking about. If I were booking it, I would make Goldberg champion. I would have him beat Kevin Owens. And the reason being is because the program should be bigger than the championship. You know, the selling point of this feud, like I said, is the friendship. It's not the title. The title doesn't make Kevin Owens special. And he's had a lengthy title run where he's managed to outlast fucking Roman Reigns. At least that's something, you know? And... if the way that I would sell it is if Goldberg can dispatch Brock Lesnar so easily, and he's done it twice at the Royal Rumble and at Survivor Series.
If he doesn't march through Kevin Owens, then it makes Lesnar look more like a chump.
Yeah. And just a spoiler for WrestleMania, I do believe that Brock Lesnar will beat Goldberg at WrestleMania. And he'll walk out champion. So that's how I see it going. I think they're using this as a way of getting Brock to beat his demons, right? To beat the one man he cannot beat.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, Goldberg still looks strong because he's still technically at that point 3-1 against. Well, if you count Royal Rumble, maybe not. So 2-1 against Lesnar. He still has the series on him, but Goldberg can go away, and Brock Lesnar can have the championship and move forward with that. So that's how I see it going, anyway. What else can we talk about here? Really, there's really not much else. We've had all our gripes in. The only other thing that I can say is that if they're really planning on doing a Reigns versus Undertaker match at WrestleMania, I don't know who the fuck smoked something to think that Roman Reigns is going to be cheered in a match against the dead man.
No, it wouldn't happen.
No. And I'm not convinced. Some people are convinced, okay, he's finally going heel. Guys, the time to make him go heel was 2 years ago. Come on. You know, like... The time to make him go heel was when he lost the WrestleMania match against Brock Lesnar. He should have gone heel.
Well, the definite final nail in the coffin, time to take him heel, was when The Rock couldn't get the crowd to cheer for him.
Yeah. They should have taken that as a big indicator that this just wasn't going to work. Roman Reigns can still be the biggest star in that company. But he has to go heel for 18 months beforehand. You know, that has to happen. And their reluctance to do so has cost them dearly with this guy. So that's the way I look at it. Another small thing that we can talk about as well, Matt, is Eva Marie. I think she's gone. I think that she's preparing for life outside of WWE. And the reason I say that, I don't think it's any coincidence that she tweets a picture of a long line of these people at a table saying that they're her, marketing team or whatever to get her, all these different opportunities. And a couple of days later, I get tons of stuff on like Lad Bible and stuff like this, which are big selling points for social media teams because I have so many people that view their pages, saying stuff like, "Oh, Eva Marie had a wardrobe malfunction and now she's leaving WWE." Those stories don't just pop up. Normally, news is fed in or it's paid to those sites to filter it out. That's normally how it's done. So Eva Marie, suddenly the story isn't so much about WWE, it's about what's Eva Marie doing outside of WWE now. Eva Marie's not a big enough star that she would be on those pages. Believe me, it's no coincidence she's leaving the company. That's what I believe. So whether or not you like her or not, I was never a fan of her as a wrestler. There you are. There is one person, however, who I do believe that she was better in her time with WWE. Someone who retired recently. Wow, I'm really ragging on a lot of women in this podcast.
Yeah, just a touch, but it's fine because it's totally justified, especially this one.
Rosa Mendes is gone. She's retired. As soon as Matt told me this and I saw it, instead of looking at it and being like, "Oh, someone's retired. Oh, that's a shame." They gave a good contribution to wrestling. I looked at Rosa Mendes and I'm like, the only contribution really is that you make me wonder how you managed to stay employed for so long.
Yeah.
Like, she was a shocking pro wrestler. And I mean, shocking. Eva Marie was miles better than Rosa Mendes. Right, so that should show you. Dana Brooke makes... Rosa Mendes makes Dana Brooke look like Shawn fucking Michaels, right? Let's be honest now.
Yeah.
She wasn't even that good of a manager as an on-air personality. She was barely even put on TV as an on-air personality. The only time I can remember her was when she was the manager of Epico and Primo for a short amount of time. And then she was with Fandango for a little while. Do you remember that? Hardly two breakout stars there, two breakout acts. What has she done? She's been with the company. I'm going to look at it right now. Let's have a look. Rosa Mendes. When did she sign? When did she sign with the company? Let's have a look now. She signed with World Wrestling Entertainment. She got signed in August of 2006.
Shit, it was that long.
Right? So, yeah.
11 years. The hell? Well.
So here's the thing, right? So she got signed in 2006, August. So she was eliminated from the Diva selection 2006, August 24th. WWE then signed her to a developmental contract. On November the 24th, 2008 episode of Raw, she appeared as a planted fan. So that was her first. We're going to go from there. November the 24th, 2008. She's been an on-air personality in WWE for 9 years. She's been signed with them for 11. How?
Makes you wonder, don't it?
Now, I know why, because of rumors of that she got a bit friendly with Michael Hayes, and Michael Hayes always had her back. And just when I thought, that it was time that maybe they would cut her, because to be honest, she's very old for one of the women that they would keep around. She's 37. You normally see WWE cutting ties with people way before they get to 35 when they're women, right? That's just, I'm not being sexist. That's just the history of how WWE conducts their business. I'm not saying it's right, but this is the way that they do it. Okay. So why was she around? What did she do all this time? I think she was close to getting cut, and I think Total Divas saved her ass for the last 3 years or so that she was involved. I don't think if she was in Total Divas, I don't think she would have been anywhere close to what's going on. Matt, can you tell me one good Rosa Mendes match? I'm not talking about great or memorable. One good Rosa Mendes match.
I don't remember a Rosa Mendes match.
Yeah, it's that. This is that boggling, Matt. That not only can I not remember a good Rosa Mendes match, I can't remember a Rosa Mendes match. I can't remember her wrestling. I can't remember her in the ring. I don't know. I can't remember a match that she was in. And she was with the company for 11 years. How does this happen? I don't understand. There's been people that's been fired from the company or let go. Damien Sandow was released from the company, Matt. And he was hired after her. I'm guessing so. And then he was released beforehand. Let's look. Damien Sandow. Oh, I'm getting really annoyed now. I'm getting annoyed.
I think you've got to imagine that so many people, but they were saying about Mickie James. Mickie James spent less time in the company in WWE than Rosa Mendes, yet achieved so much more.
Yeah. So he was with WWE in their developmental in 2002, but he was only there and he never made an appearance. I'm going to go from his debut. So in his debut on TV was 2012. Damien Sandow had less than half of the time that Rosa Mendes did. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I don't understand this. She's one of those people Like, you know, for ages, people were making jokes about JTG. How was he able to stay in the company so long? At very least, I can look at JTG and I can say, well, I can see that there would be potential in the guy. He was a decent worker, right? And there's a gimmick that could be worked there. I don't know with Rosa Mendes. I've got no clue with Rosa Mendes. How the fuck she stayed in the company for so long. I don't even know how it's possible. She has been like, she doesn't even do that stuff. I'm trying to think here. She didn't even do that much stuff on the network because she wasn't a very good speaker.
No. Like, I think at one point she was trying to be a backstage interviewer, like during the pregnancy and that.
Yeah.
But then what I saw of that was just cringeworthy.
Yeah, she just wasn't very good. I can't think of anything that she did in the company that was good.
She was a Hispanic lady with big boobs. Let's just cut it to that.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. It's like I said, it's annoying because I look at the woman. I've got nothing against her. She seems like a lovely person, but I still don't know why someone kept paying her paychecks for that long when there's been so many cuts over this time. The very fact that she wasn't cut from the company, that she retired from them, I don't understand it. I don't. But there we go. There's my thoughts on it there. Contrary to belief, I do really like women's wrestling. Just want to put it out there. I said positive thing about the SmackDown crew at very least, so there's that. I think Alexa Bliss has been doing great, and Becky Lynch and Mickie James. So don't think of me as sexist. I'm just not happy with the.
Naomi's a champion finally.
Yeah, fair play, and she's a great wrestler. It's just one of those things that some people were putting up, like, fair play to her. Hope everything goes well for her. And I'm like, yeah, I do hope everything goes well for her. But the very idea that she'll get any recognition for the things that she did, I just don't agree with it. Like, she never made any sort of impact, and she was with the company for so long. A decade of irrelevancy. That's what I'm calling her career. A decade of irrelevancy. There you go. Harsh, Matt. Harsh.
But honest.
But fair. Yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at it there. We're nearing our hour, Matt. Let's talk about a few things that happened over the course. Matt, we never got a chance to actually properly go and talk about Star Wars Rogue One. We spent so much time talking about how big it was, and we never actually got around to talking about it here on the show. It's been ages since I've seen it, so maybe it's one of those things that I won't be able to talk about too. Let's just give a general consensus. What do you think of Rogue One?
I still don't know.
You're still confused?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. There were so many glaring points in it that I'm just like, really? Really?
Mm.
And if I have to hear "Don't choke on your ambition" one more time, I'm going to fucking kill someone. So awful.
So I'm conflicted as well because I like it, but I get the feeling when I watch it again, I won't like it. I get the feeling that because it was in the cinema and I'd had my hopes up for it, and for the first half of the movie, which I think was severely lacking, now looking back on it, that I was just too excited, so it was kind of overdoing, the bad parts of the movie. I think if I were to watch it again in my own home, I'd watch it and I'd be like, nah, this wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to. That's the way I'm literally gonna leave it as a happy memory.
I will probably watch it again, but I don't know. It was a solid film.
One movie that I've watched recently, which I recommend to you if you haven't already seen it, is Sausage Party. Have you seen Sausage Party?
I haven't yet. No.
There was a point in the latter stage of this movie. You know me, Matt. I've got pretty thick skin, right? So if something shocking happens, normally it won't shock me. I've seen everything. Yeah. Matt, I had my hand on my head. I was like, oh my God, they didn't just do that. Oh my fucking God. This is so crazy that I couldn't have expected it. My wife couldn't even look at the screen. She was like, what the fuck is going on? So brilliant. It's funny. I do recommend it to you. It's one of those ones that, again, you're kind of looking at it, and for half of it, you don't know whether or not you like it. But in the last half of the movie, they turn up such a notch that you're either on board or you're so disgusted that you've just like, no, I'm done. I'm out.
Fair enough.
So I hugely recommend it. And I have to say that it pains me to say that the ending of Sausage Party was more memorable than maybe the first half of Rogue One, which is a bit sad. So, but still. For anyone interested in how far I've got in Voyager, because remember I've been saying I've been going through that. I am halfway through season 6. I only have a season and a half to go, and the entire season's done. So, yeah, my wife has now started watching The Good Wife, which is like 7 seasons long. So that's going to take her a while. We don't know what we're going to get into then. But I know we had some people even comment saying I should bring Stacey back onto the show. Fuck it, I might just put up I might put it up on the channel, but not like a Let's Talk Wrestling. I might just do stuff talking about Netflix shows and shit like that. So if you guys want that, let me know, because Stacey, she liked doing the episode last time, but she can't give the same insight as someone like Matt or me can. She doesn't know that much about the product in general. And after we did the recording, she was like, that was fun, but I'd much rather talk about things that I can properly go into. Yeah. And if I talked, and she knows TV shows, she will binge watch TV shows like mental. So if you want like a TV show or like a movie thing, let us know and I'll convince her to do it, because she likes everyone saying that they miss her on the show. I'm just going to say that right now. She likes being adored, right? Me, I love it even more. It just puts my ego up. What about you, Matt? What do you like it when people say that like that show? What does it do to you? Does it give you a proper erection? Do you get a throbber?
Right.
I went there again, didn't I? I went there. It feels like the podcast again. It feels. Have you been doing anything creative, Matt, over the last couple of months while we haven't been doing the show? You've been working a lot, though, haven't you? I've
been working a lot and running D&D.
Yeah. You've. Sometimes I feel like I should record our D&D, but it'll be like 3 hours of us not really going that fast because we take our own pace,
dicking around,
our own inside jokes and everything. Yeah. I've mostly been writing over the last. I don't really tell people this that much, but my main sort of passion is writing. I love writing novels. I love writing even stuff that isn't novels. Like I've done some articles on the Facebook page and stuff like that. So I've been working on an idea for a novel. I spent the last month and a half planning it out, and I started writing it 2 weeks ago. And I actually got sick last week, so I was only able to write one day of last week. So I'm only on like 5,000 words. But Matt doesn't even know anything about it. No one knows anything about it. It's
actually the first of my hearing of it.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying it now is because I want something interesting to put up on the show, really. But the reason I'm not telling anyone is because I've realized, Matt, and you probably know this by now anyway with me, if I tell people, okay, I'm doing this, and I end up splurging everything out, my creativity ends up being wasted on conversations to other people about what I'm going to do, and I don't use that actually in the fucking story and write the damn thing. Yep. So now no one knows what I'm doing. No one knows what I'm writing, except for my wife, because she's in earshot whenever I'm thinking of stuff or doing research. But I'm planning to have it finished as soon as like autumn, and it'll be done. I'm putting a pretty strict schedule on myself. So I'm writing from 10 to 1 every day. And then after 1 o'clock, that's when I look after the kids. But then I'm doing research in between. I'll give you a slight hint that it's a harrowing tale. It's not a very nice story. So it's not one that you would want to read and you end up being happy about. So there you go.
It's not a good bedtime story then.
No, it's not one that
not one for the kids.
Not one for the kids. No. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. And you know what, guys? When I've got it finished, and I do hope I get it published. That's the ultimate goal. I want to become an author. If you guys really want to know, that's my ultimate goal here. I want a published book in a bookstore that someone would buy randomly and they would enjoy the story. So if that ends up happening, guys, I'll be more than happy to tell you more about it in length once it's finished. And if it does get published, then I'm putting the link on this, so you can go buy the damn thing. That's the way it works, Matt, So that's what I've been working on the last 2 months. And literally, Matt, as much as I love you, no one's going to hear anything about it until it's finished. That way you can start writing it and you don't have to hear me going about, I'm thinking about doing this. You can just experience the whole thing and it's done.
Fair enough.
I think that's the best way for everyone that way. That's what I decided personally over the last couple of months anyway. So I think people will like it. I think people will enjoy it. Maybe they won't like it because it is a very dark tale, but we'll get into that anyway. So Anyway,
Unless they
that's
like that sort of thing.
Yeah, unless who knows, they might enjoy it. But there we go. All right, then, guys, we've done like an hour. I don't want to go out too far. To be honest, we don't have that much to talk about, Matt. Unless you want to cover anything else quickly.
No, I feel like we're just filling.
No, of course not. So, like I said, in terms of the future of the podcast, me and Matt may decide just randomly over a week. Do you fancy talking about some stuff? And we'll go on and we'll talk about it. It may just be one topic that we decide we want to speak about in length, and it may be like random half an hour episode here and there. Or we just decide, okay, we want to review. We're basically just going to go on what we feel like doing. So any sort of sense of a schedule is just out of the window now. I think that's the way to do it going forward, at least for now, because it's one of those things that I would have expected by the time Royal Rumble rolled around, that I would want to be watching more wrestling. And if I'm honest, I'm not that into it at the moment. No. I've really enjoyed talking this episode. You know, like I said before, it's not that I've never not enjoyed doing the podcast. It's the prep work and what I have to watch to do the podcast that I don't enjoy that much. I guess is that the same for you, Matt?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, it was the fact that something that was originally just sort of something that I used to enjoy doing, just to wind down at the end of it all, and then now I have to structure it in.
Yeah,
we have and work and all things like that, and I'm like,
yeah. And we have to schedule in the hours to watch it, and then we were adding extra stuff on, and suddenly it started becoming.
And then all of a sudden, WWE are like, and then we're going to do the brand split, and there's going to be a pay-per-view every other fucking week. You're like, come on.
Yeah. And you know what? It's one of those things that I think the podcast in general is just going to get a lot more relaxed. We'll catch what we catch and we'll talk what we talk about. And that way we can give it to you and we can talk on the show and be very passionate. I would not have gone that Rosa Mendes rant if we had carried on. It probably would have gone under the radar, to be honest. Whereas, like, it's one of those things that, okay, look at it. Yeah, and I've got that freshness to go and talk about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. And that we're not saying to you that things are completely over, because we do really enjoy your guys' support, and we don't really want to fall out of touch with people like Mario Tier and Billy McGee, right? People like that. MC Schwabo, right? People like that. People that we had questions from for like years. We don't want to fall out of touch with you guys. We want to know what you feel. If anything, this has just become more of a rounded debate, maybe more so in the comments after episodes. And I'll promise that I'll be a lot more active in the comments. So if you want to have a genuine conversation on Facebook or in the YouTube comments, go for it. Just tell me, Tony, this is what I'm thinking. This is my question. I'd much rather we have a debate on here. And I'll be like, fine. And you know me, Matt. If someone says that to me, I will type essays back at them. You know what I mean? I will give my full thoughts on that. So, this was a lot of fun. I did enjoy this. So I hope you guys have a great, I was about to say a great week. Whenever we next see you. I'm sure, Matt, that we'll do something to cover WrestleMania at the very least. Yeah. I'm sure that we'll do
it's safe to say I'm going to be watching Mania.
Yeah, we'll definitely cover that, and we'll give our thoughts on that. Although I think we've been warned off doing a straight after the show review. I still remember how tired we were last year. God,
wrecked.
And that was the Mania with Roman Reigns winning the championship. So everyone was pissed. We had like so much activity, but it was just people going, I hate Roman Reigns. I hate Roman Reigns. I hate Roman Reigns. I'm like, okay, we're getting to there, but anyway, I'm going off track. All right, guys. Hope you have a great time. And all the social media stuff's in the description. Thanks a lot for supporting us over this time. And we'll catch you when the next episode is out.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.